Hey everyone, I'm closer to the camera now because a lot of people complained about the noise because it's not loud enough, but I'm using a GoPro, so the sound isn't that good. But you also wanted to see my face apparently. I don't understand why, but here it is. I wanted to make a video of a small history of who I am and how I started collecting and what I do in gaming and blah. Because some people just asked for it, and I just want it as a base of my YouTube channel. I don't want to do much with my YouTube channel. I just enjoy making these videos. Since you have to spend so many hours editing and just for one video, and for the couple of viewers it's not making money, trust me. So I just do this for fun. I'll just start with who am I. I'm Des. A lot of people call me jNoxx or jNoxx because that's my nickname in gaming. I'm 23 years old. I live in Hekelgem. It's a small part of Affelhem, left of Brussels in Belgium, in Europe. I live with my girlfriend and 2 cats in our rental house. That's where I have my game room, which you can see in my other video. What do I do? I'm a freelance programmer. I program iOS applications for the iPhone and the iPad. I do business to business freelancing. I used to work for companies, which I will explain in a bit. But now I'm available for hire when you want to make apps or you have some cool ideas or whatever. I've had a rather strange and eventful life. When I was a kid, I was really addicted to games. More about that later. I've played baseball, I've been in the Scouts, which in Belgium is not that bad as, for example, in Germany or whatever, or the Boy Scouts. It's a bit different here, another mentality, so don't judge. I had to do other activities except gaming from my parents, which I owe them a lot for. They forced me to do such social activities, and that's the only thing, the only reason why I could play. They told me I can only play the games so much if I do social activities, so it's actually forced, but I also enjoyed it, so I want to make that clear. Well, when I was 15, so I had a huge gaming addiction, played shooters and stuff. I will explain it later too. But I was into this MMO called Lineage2 or Lineage2 from NCSoft, same makers as Guild Wars, creators, whatever. And I've played hours and hours and hours, day and night. And I met someone there, a German. And after a while talking to him, talking about my life, I was about 15. Yeah, we just had a lot of fun. He was like 50 or 49 at the time. And then my computer broke down. And he actually sent me a new graphic card, and my mom was like, okay, someone from the internet sent you a free graphics card, what's that all about? You didn't give your father's credit card or something? And I was like, no, he just did. He asked for my address and he sent it to me. And after that, it actually arrived. I plugged in my computer, but my power supply wasn't strong enough, so I couldn't actually use it. So he was like, okay, just give me some days. And then a few days later, a fully rigged computer arrived, everything included, including the logo of his company on it. So actually I got a free computer. My mom still didn't really believe it, but no credit card charges or whatever, and it was standing there on my desk running flawlessly. So I kept talking with this guy, of course. We had lots of fun, and with his wife, she also played. And then after a while, he was like, okay, so you want to do something with computers, because that's my dream all my life. I've been a computer gamer. And then he asked me like, maybe you want to work for me or something? And I was like, yeah, but I can't really do things. I've been screwing in computers and fixing them since I was 11, but not like programming or whatever. So he was like, okay, sure, maybe I want to test you. I'll give you an apartment just come stay with us for a month or something in the summer, and we'll see what you can do. My mom was really freaked out. She didn't understand it. So he offered me a flying ticket and an apartment for a month and whatever. But my mom was really on edge, which I believe now. I can imagine. So she said, okay, fine, I want to talk to this guy, and if you're gonna do it, we're going to deliver you and drop you off and see for ourselves. So when I was 16 in the summer, I think I was in my 5th year of high school, which is different system in America, in Europe than in America. I actually went there. I actually studied for my exams so I could go. So I went there. My parents dropped me off. They stayed for 2 or 3 days. We did loads of activities. I had lots of fun. And I actually stayed there for a month. I learned how to program a bit. Not too much because they wanted me to have fun too. So I met a really cool guy there, Dave. He had a PlayStation 3 and Borderlands 1 came out, or was it then already? I don't know, we played a lot on the PS3. It's actually the most PS3 that I've played because of my history of consoles, which I will get after this. So when I came back after the month, they wanted to hire me, but I had to finish my school first, so I did that really badly. I really sucked at school. All I did was focus on my German career. But in that year I met my current girlfriend, so she knew what was up. But I moved to Germany. I've stayed there for a year, but with some complications which I won't go into detail with the company, and they separated shareholders, blah. Wasn't a good time for me to be there, so I came back to Belgium. I learned a bit more about iOS programming because that's what I learned there. I didn't have any university diplomas or whatever, so I worked there for a company in Antwerp for 2 years. Then I went to another company, worked there for 2.5 years, and now since September I'm freelance. So all iOS programming. So that's my life. I have a weird special life. But yeah, I'm still here with my girlfriend, living in the house, enjoying myself, collecting all this amazing stuff. So I'll talk a bit more about that. How did I start getting into gaming and collecting? First I'll start on the gaming. I think when I was 6 or 7, my godfather came in. I have a Dutch family from the Netherlands, so I didn't see him a lot, so like 2 or 3 times a year. And he came in and he had the laptop with Tomb Raider. I think it was 1 or 2, and I was completely amazed. It was so amazing. And when I actually got the 2 from him, my father was into pirating. He got me the 2, and I played the first level, which is with the water and the tigers, and it's actually quite easy. I've played it for hours because I really sucked at it. But for me, it was just amazing playing it and controlling this figure. It completely blew my mind. I had to call him because I couldn't get. You had a running jump. I didn't understand that as a kid. I stood there at the edge and just jumped, and I never got it. So we didn't have YouTube in that time for you guys. We only had guides, which you could print out from the internet, which said how you had to play. So that's actually how I got into gaming. So then I got introduced to shooters through my godfather, and that's in the end how I ended up with Call of Duty 1, playing it shitloads of time. I enjoyed it. Commandos, for example, strategy game, one of the only ones. It's through a schoolmate. And then when Half-Life 2 came out, I camped the store at night, so I could go buy it. One of the first games I ever bought, I think. And it came with Counter-Strike Source. I didn't really care for the game. My friends played it. We nearly did LANs every weekend at one of the people's houses, because my life was all about gaming, day and night. I didn't do schoolwork, blah. So then I actually started playing more Counter-Strike because they were playing it. I was more into America's Army, which I played for a really long time. So I started playing Source and I started playing competitive in the end, but there wasn't a big pro scene like there is today. And in the end, I chose to go for my career in Germany instead of pro gaming. So not something I regret, but I wanted to mention it. Then I want to talk about my console history. Well, a bit more about my gaming. I still game actively on the PC. I play the new Counter-Strike. I don't play competitive. I do follow the pro scene a lot. I play for fun. Well, it depends on if I have to do a lot for clients, so if I can play or not. So now about my console history. I think the first console I owned was a Game Boy, which I had as a kid. So you can see it in my Game Boy collection video. I got it for my birthday at the end of the Game Boy's life nearly. And yeah, I played it day and night. We had battery packs, we had the adapters. I played at night with a small light on it. You know, car rides, we had special made bags for all the games. I played Pokemon and Super Mario Land the most. Speedy Gonzales, which I will do in another video. I will explain. So what else did I play? Like Lucky Luke. I was stuck at one level and I still want to finish it, as you can see in my other video. So we had the Game Boy, and then when the Game Boy Advance came out, we wanted to buy one, so my sister and me, but we always had to get 2 things of each because we were fighting all the time over who could play what and whatever. So we had to buy 2, so that took us a while to save up for 2, borrowed some money of her, and we got 2. And we got Super Mario Circuit, which I enjoyed so much. I played it so many hours. We got Spyro, Lord of the Rings 2 Towers, you know, these kind of games. And then when my sister was in the hospital with a broken arm, she got Golden Sun. This was actually one of the first RPGs which I've ever played and enjoyed, because I'm not that into RPGs yet. And still, for me, Golden Sun is a great memory because it was hours and hours and hours and hours of unique gameplay. And yeah, that absolutely blew my mind for such a little console. So when the PS2 came out in Europe, a friend of me on school was selling his NES. He had an old NES, I still have it here. They had Legend of Zelda and the Mutant Turtles, you know, all those things. And I bought it for like $20 because we were actually never allowed to have consoles on the screen. Me and my sister had a TV upstairs for watching movies when my parents were downstairs watching like other stuff, police series and stuff, which we didn't understand anyway. So we watched upstairs to the kiddie movies. But we weren't allowed to have consoles for the TV, which we didn't like, of course. But hey, I was already addicted on my PC, and the small Game Boys and stuff we didn't use much more then. So we begged and we begged and we begged my parents so we could buy the NES, which was $20 in the time, with all the games. And we enjoyed it. You know, most people had a PS2 and stuff, but we had a lot of fun on NES. Adventure Island, Mutant Turtles, of course. I never actually got into Zelda. It was too confusing for me at the time. So we played mostly Adventure Island, I think. So and we had Duck Hunt, but we never understood until later, when apparently you had to have a zapper. But I didn't know that, so we just thought the game was broke. So we got the NES, but we, you know, in the end we stopped playing it. And then the same Godfather I was talking about was moving to America, and I remember when we were there at his house in Holland, in the Netherlands, he let me play Tekken 3. This was one of my first fighter games, and I was playing it, but it was like around Christmas, so everyone was like, yay, celebration, and I was like gaming and gaming and gaming, and I was getting really addicted. And then in the night I woke up at like 3 or something, so I could go downstairs and play, and then I was still playing when everyone woke up, and that that's one of the reasons my parents didn't want me to get one of these things. But when he moved to America, he actually gifted it to us. I still have it. It's in my video. The original box is there. It's standing here. But we couldn't afford the games. So my nephew actually got it chipped for me. We pirated a lot of games. Played Spyro, Army Man. I remember lots and lots of Army Man and Spyro mostly. Siphon Filter, things like that. James Bond. But in the end we got tired of it too. And then when the PS3 came out, a guy at my school sold his PS2. So I begged my parents till I could buy it, because it was not the money wise, but it was just more, can we have it? So I bought the PS2, and for me that was amazing because everyone was playing around with the PS3 and stuff. So I was playing PS2, and one of my favorites was SSX3. I've played, I think, every day, a couple of hours. I was getting really good at it because we didn't have that much games. Some GTA, but I actually always preferred playing on the PC. So most games I played on the PC because I didn't like the aiming on the consoles, which most of you will understand, which are PC gamers, of course. So I got tired of it in the end too, the PS2. So when the PSP came out, I remember that I really wanted to get the PSP. So I sold my PS2 to my regrets. And then the moment I sold it, my PC broke down, so I had to buy new parts. And since we didn't have a lot of money, I used that money to buy some parts for my own PC. So no consoles, except the PS1, which was in a box somewhere. So then I moved to Germany, and my friend there, which I explained before, had a PS3, and we played it a lot, and I enjoyed it, but I couldn't afford it. So then a friend of me, which I also met on Counter-Strike Source, which was in a clan of me, he had the same name, and his sister had the same name, we were the same age, and all these funny coincidences. And suddenly he sent me like, yeah, I'm looking for an internship, and I was like, sure, I'll ask here. And one thing led to the other, and suddenly he was living with me. I was his teacher for his school, and I had a huge apartment in Germany, which were actually 2 apartments, but the middle wall was actually slammed out. So imagine it like that. So he had one part, I had the other part, and he lived with me for 2 months, and he brought his PS3 and his Xbox 360. So we played till deep in the night. We were playing Borderlands together and things like that. So that's how I really got into console gaming, actually. And when he went back to the Netherlands, as a thank you, he gave me money so I could afford my own 360. But it was in the same period I was going back maybe to Belgium, so it didn't really happen. So then I went back to Belgium and lived with my parents for a couple of months, and then when I landed a job in Antwerp, I found an apartment close there, and I moved there 2 days after. So the first day after, I didn't have a car because I was getting one from work. So there was no internet in my apartment yet, so I was just sitting there because my girlfriend was also still in school. Because then we were 18 or 19, I think. Yeah, 19. So there was a market close by, and I just walked in and I bought my 360 with the Kinect, which just came out. It's the same one I still have standing here and I still use. It was the Elite with the Kinect, so I bought some games for it, but yeah, it was really expensive and I couldn't really afford it. A lot of new games. So that's how I got my first own console. I didn't really collect yet because I was always a pirater, PC gaming, PS1, and then I wanted to get a PS3 too. I wanted to chip it, but the problem was at that time it was impossible. or you had to downgrade, which also costed like 120 euros at the chippers or whatever. So I actually had to buy games, and that was kind of sucky. So I bought a couple of them as cheap as possible on the used markets. Then something happened. I'll explain short. One night I was staying at my girlfriend's, and I got a call deep in the night from my sister, and then I knew something was not normal. And the first thing she yelled was like, "The house is on fire." So I just shouted in the thing called the ambulance, the fire department, and she said already did that. So I just threw on clothes and I drove there as fast as I can, but it was really stormy, which caused the fire. So going as fast as I could on the highway without drifting off, and that left a deep mark on me. We lost a lot of stuff. I already moved out, so for me it's not that much personal stuff, but a lot of memories and so some consoles were in there, my sister's Xbox and stuff like that, which we picked it up, and after the day after, and the water was just running out, and yeah, that left a really deep mark on me, and that's maybe a bit how I got into collecting, hoarding stuff. Maybe I don't want to call it hoarding because I have most organized, so I have a lot more emotional value on stuff now. I appreciate stuff more, I'd say it like that. So after a while I wanted to buy all consoles because I understood that a lot of consoles in the past that I've never had. My nephews had the Sega Game Gear, but everyone around us had Nintendo stuff, so Sega was like for noobs. Sorry Sega fans, I'm not saying it now. So I got into Game Gear, not into Game Gear, but they had that, and I wanted to buy all the consoles I've never had, and I just wanted to own each. So I started buying Master System 1 and 2, Mega Drive 1 and 2, or the Genesis 1 and 2. What else did I buy? I buy N64 and SNES, which I all never played and never had. I bought some Atari stuff, some all kind of different Game Boys, so I had a lot of loose cards too. So then I met a friend of me. I met him, and he was also into gaming, so that's actually the only thing we were talking about, that and cars. So that's how I started collecting PS3 and Xbox 360 collector's editions. They were quite expensive, so I only bought those, not normal games. And then in the end I started buying more and more games. And then I was with my friend at the flea market. We were trying to pick up some cheap games. He was looking for retro stuff. I didn't really care yet. I had some loose cartridges, and I was like, okay, fuck yeah. So we were at the flea market, and there was a reseller we know, and he kept talking to him about a group on Facebook about collectors and gamers. So I was kind of interested. So I joined it, and then a whole new world opened up to me. Apparently a lot of people were collecting games like what I have now, and I was absolutely flabbergasted. I saw so many sales and all these retro games, and boxed and unboxed and manuals going for insane prices, and a whole new world opened up for me. So I didn't really care, because I was like, why would you invest so much money in stuff like that? I didn't want boxed games. I just bought some old games. So that's how I actually got into collecting, because my friend was like, everything has to be boxed, and I didn't really understand that. And look at me now, I have over 3,000 games in the original box. Okay, PS2 and stuff doesn't really count, but still. in the end, I understood. I actually understood why you should only collect in box. I don't. I don't. I'm not saying you shouldn't, because the more I watch game shows like Game Chasers and stuff, and I love how they can go to every flea market and find games in box that they don't have, because box, that's nearly impossible. You nearly have to buy and pay resale prices. So at some points I just decided to kick everything out unboxed. I don't think I have anything unboxed anymore. Maybe one or two consoles which I have spare, but the rest I have boxed. So that's how I really got into collecting, and then suddenly 1,000 games, 2,000 games, 3,000 games, collector's editions here, there. I bought the new gen. A lot of stuff happened. Yeah, and that's actually how I suddenly got my collection. I met a lot of cool people who showed me some really cool consoles which I know nothing about, because all these collectors are self-proclaimed experts, which I'm totally not. I know nothing about old games. I'm trying to know about them, and I love learning more about them. I know a little more about new games then. So if people tell me, what, you don't know Battletoads? Yeah, well, I've never had it, I've never played it, well, till late. So things like that, and then I had some cool people who understood, and they actually showed me what the gaming community is about, the old games. I knew a lot about the old Game Boy and stuff, because that's what I had and my friends had. So yeah, actually that's how I got into collecting. I really enjoy talking to other collectors. I'm not the what, you have more than me, fuck you type. I enjoy that people have cool stuff that I don't have, because that means I will have it someday, and I hope I have it someday, so we can play together or whatever. It's a different mindset than most of them. But hey, I get a lot of hate for my huge collection, because I invest quite a lot of money in it, and yeah, I don't understand. I'm just enjoying my hobby. I how do I say it normally? I enjoy actually helping other collectors find other stuff. You can find a lot of people in the collectors groups which I helped even before I've had it, just because I enjoy them having it. I mean, it's not a race, it's not a competition, and that's what I don't understand about some of the reactions I get. Yeah, I don't want to go really deep into that. I'm saving that for another video. So I think that's most about me, my collection. You can see in my other video I have a lot more. I have a lot more on the way. I won't stop collecting until, of course, there's a really dramatic reason, because I actually enjoy it. You know, it's not for, look what I have, I'm a show off, because there are a lot of people there which know absolutely nothing about gaming too, but they don't enjoy gaming. That's what's frustrating me. They know the value of the game, they know they have an expensive game like Vampire Skiz or Wily Wars on the Genesis or whatever, but they don't enjoy it, and that's what I really hate. It's, you know, they were just examples. I'm not pinpointing anyone, but that's, yeah, I really do this as a passion for gaming, and I love knowing more about games. And it, as a kid, the only thing I wanted to do was being a game tester. I know I learned after, of course, that you couldn't really get money for that. You can, but not as much as I make now. I always wanted to make games. I'm not that talented yet. I still want to learn it. I just love games. I have some friends who make stuff like that, and yeah, that's still one of my dreams, is making games. But yeah, that's about me. It's about my life. If you have any more questions, ask me. About my YouTube channel, I'm going to make a lot more. I have some ideas. I want to talk with some other friends who have insane collections, and I want to share the passion with them, filming it, talking about games, which is always lovely. I want to make some panels. I'm going to do some reviews actually. Not the typical, oh, and that's bad and that's bad. I actually enjoy gaming, you know, even if it's bad. I still want to finish it actually. So I will make some reviews, more like what do I think of the games, not really reviews. So let's see how it works out. So talk to you soon, and like, comment, subscribe. I don't care actually. I just hope you enjoy watching the video. And for my disliker, I don't know what your problem is, but you dislike every video. Maybe you should just contact me if you have issues with me, because it's getting really funny and a bit sad for you, man. I'm sorry about your personal thinking. So talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.